Hey everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be taking a deep dive into this idea of like becoming your own best friend, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, based on this podcast I was listening to, English Dose, and
Oh,
yeah, they
oh,
had a whole episode about it. And it really got me thinking about like self-confidence and just, happiness
yeah,
and how like everyone's always looking for ways to improve those things, right?
absolutely.
So yeah, I thought it'd be really cool to kind of dig into this whole concept of being your own bestie.
I like that.
Yeah, and the podcast starts off with this idea that self-improvement is really about like building this relationship with yourself, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just about like checking things off a to-do list or achieving goals.
Mm.
It's about like really nurturing that bond that you have with yourself.
Yeah, it's like having a best friend, right? But it's you,
Exactly.
your own best friend.
Yeah. And so they talk about this idea of like starting with kindness, you know?
Oh, okay.
Like treating yourself with the same kindness that you would treat like your best friend.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. Like you wouldn't put down your best friend or tell them they're not good enough.
Right.
So why do we do that to ourselves? You know?
Mhm.
And they even gave this example of like flipping the script on negative self-talk. So instead of saying something like, ugh, I'm so bad at this,
Yeah.
you would say something like, I'm learning and it's okay to make mistakes.
Right.
What do you think about that?
I think that's really powerful because it's really about changing your language, and that can change your mindset.
Mm.
And there's a lot of research that shows that self-compassion can really have huge benefits for your well-being.
Yeah.
Like, reducing anxiety, helping you regulate your emotions better.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like giving yourself a warm hug instead of like a cold shoulder.
I love that. I love that analogy. Like it's like you're being supportive of yourself,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
it makes such a difference.
Yeah.
So speaking of kindness, the English Dose podcast also talks about the importance of spending quality time like alone,
Oh, okay.
like actually, enjoying your own company and doing things like, going on coffee dates by yourself, taking walks, or just like pursuing hobbies, things that you might normally do with a friend, but like doing them with yourself.
Yeah.
Do you ever do that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it's so important to be comfortable like with yourself and your own thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like having fun. It's also about setting boundaries.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like just like you wouldn't let a friend constantly like drain your energy or disrespect your time.
Right.
You need to set boundaries with yourself too.
That's true.
Protect your time, say no to things that don't serve you, and prioritize your well-being. It's really a crucial act of self-friendship.
Yeah, like you're standing up for yourself, basically.
Exactly.
And that reminds me of something else that the podcast emphasized, which was celebrating your wins.
Oh, yeah.
Like your wins, no matter how big or small.
Yeah.
Like if you finish a project that you were working on or you stuck to your workout routine for a week, like give yourself some credit.
Totally.
It doesn't have to be this huge celebration or anything, but just like a little acknowledgement that you're doing great.
Right, acknowledge yourself.
Yeah.
That's so important. And this actually ties into this concept of self-efficacy, which is basically like your belief in your own ability to succeed.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
Clever.
it's like your inner cheerleader.
Yeah.
The voice that says, "You got this."
Yeah.
And by recognizing your achievements, you're basically strengthening that voice.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you more motivated and resilient, when you face challenges.
Yeah, it's like you're building up that confidence muscle or something.
Exactly.
One of the things that really stood out to me from the podcast was this idea of embracing your flaws, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like accepting yourself completely, quirks and all.
Yeah, love yourself.
Yeah, but I struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah, it's tough.
How do we really embrace those parts of ourselves that like we might not always love?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely something a lot of people struggle with, and it's natural
Yeah.
to kind of want to hide or deny parts of ourselves that we think are flawed or not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But the more we do that, the more like internal conflict we create within ourselves.
Right.
But embracing like our authentic selves, that leads to like greater self-acceptance and a stronger sense of identity.
Oh, yeah.
It's recognizing that those quirks are part of what makes you unique
Yeah.
and lovable, you know?
Yeah. I like that. I'm curious, like, what does the podcast say about gratitude and self-care?
Oh, good question.
Because those seem like two things that often get overlooked, especially when we're like busy taking care of everyone else.
Totally, they do, but they're both so crucial for building a strong relationship with yourself. Gratitude helps shift your focus to the positive,
Yeah.
reducing stress and boosting your mood. And self-care is about like replenishing your resources so that you can show up as your best self.
Right. Yeah.
It's not selfish, it's essential.
That's a good point.
This
has been such an eye-opening deep dive. It's really made me think about like how I can be a better friend to myself. It's like we've laid out this roadmap to building that strong, supportive relationship that we all deserve to have with ourselves.
Absolutely. And, as you go about your day today, I want you to just, consider this. What's one small step you can take today to start nurturing that friendship with yourself?
Yeah.
It could be as simple as, replacing a negative thought with a positive one, or taking a few minutes to do something that you really enjoy.
Right.
Just remember, building a strong relationship with yourself is an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
Every small step counts.
I love that. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. I hope you all have a fantastic day.
You too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone.